Hey gang, Josh here. Quick question for you. Who made the first remixed album ever?
Presenting Nilsson!
This is an album by American singer-songwriter Harry Nilsson, or just Nilsson, or Mr. Nilsson, if you're nasty. You might know him as the crooner who does the best version of the song Without You.
I must disagree with certain members of the panel.
Or as the guy who sings Everybody's Talkin' from the 1969 film Midnight Cowboy.
Everybody's talking at me.
Two songs that this incredible singer-songwriter didn't even write. But after winning a Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Vocal Performance for Everybody's Talkin', Nilsson decided to revisit the first two albums he had recorded for the RCA label, 1967's Pandemonium Shadow Show and 1968's Aerial Ballet. So he went back into the studio with the master tapes for these two albums and decided to tweak, remix, and even re-record vocals for several of the songs. The result is a condensed version of both albums that Nilsson decided to title Aerial Pandemonium Ballet. Some of the changes he made included slowing down the tempo for his early hit 1941.
Well, in 1941, a happy father had a son. Well, in 1941, a happy father had a son.
And recording a completely new vocal track for his song River Deep, Mountain High.
Oh, and it gets deeper, baby. Now let me say, oh, and it gets deeper, baby. Let me say.
Reception for this retelling of his older material was mixed. Some critics at the time found these remixes to be more lively than the originals, and as Nilsson had intended, more contemporary in their presentation. On the other side of the fence, a more recent review from AllMusic's Stephen Thomas Erlewine referred to Aerial Pandemonium Ballet as, quote, just old tunes presented in slightly new, slightly off-putting ways. And he's not altogether wrong about that. Having heard the originals before these tweaked versions, I gotta say I much prefer the earlier recordings. Take, for example, Mr. Richards' favorite song. The original version is a fairly straightforward narrative about the life of a pop singer and his fans. But the version found on Aerial Pandemonium Ballet combines Mr. Richards' favorite song with vocals from the song One, put together in a way which overlaps the two vocals at the midpoint.
Well, most of the fans were married by then, so they had to be in by one. I'm awfully glad the husbands would say, so they had to be in by one. I'm awfully glad the husbands would say, I'm awfully glad.
Personally, I don't think the song benefits from this. It distracts from the spare vaudevillian instrumentation, buries the lyrics, and as Erlewine said, feels slightly off-putting. But viewed as alternative takes for these songs, there are some interesting moments to be found on this first ever remixed album. And had I heard it before getting familiar with his first two RCA records, I might have a different opinion about this album as a whole. Gang, if you're not familiar with any of these albums, I highly recommend you check out the first two RCA records and listen to them in the order in which they were released. And then once you've heard every Nilsson record up to and including 1974's John Lennon-produced Pussycats, maybe check out this oddity in his catalog. Side note, if you're not the type to listen to every studio album ever made by a single artist, then I highly recommend listening to Personal Best, the Harry Nilsson anthology. It's a 49-song compilation released the year after his death in 1994, and it makes a great case for Harry being one of the most uniquely talented singer-songwriters of the late 60s and early 70s.